It is undeniable that we are on the verge of a great shift in our understanding of the human mind. The true danger we face does not come from external forces, but from within ourselves. Each individual carries within a complex and often unknown world, capable of influencing decisions, emotions, and behaviors in ways we hardly perceive. Have you ever felt as though something inside you was sabotaging your best efforts, holding back your progress, even when your intentions were pure? Imagine that there is a hidden part of your personality, working in the shadows, shaping your choices and creating coincidences that seem almost magical or inevitable. This part, which Carl Jung called the shadow, is the portion of the unconscious where our fears, repressed desires, weaknesses, and traits we tend to deny or reject reside. The shadow is not just a collection of flaws, it is a powerful force that shapes who we are and how we relate to the world. Ignoring it means allowing it to act unchecked, influencing our thoughts and actions in subtle yet profound ways. Recognizing its existence is the first step in understanding the complexity of the human mind, to see that the greatest risk we face is not the outer world, but the unknown that lives within us. The shadow represents all those parts of ourselves that we repress, deny, or deem unacceptable. From childhood, we learn what is right or wrong according to our families and society, and whatever does not fit these standards is pushed into the unconscious. Perhaps you grew up being told that feeling anger, jealousy, or desire was wrong, and without realizing it, these emotions were buried deep inside you. Over time, these hidden traits shape our decisions, attitudes, and emotional reactions, often without us noticing. The shadow is like a silent energy that constantly influences our lives. It can sabotage us at decisive moments or generate behaviors we don't understand. The less we allow ourselves to acknowledge these parts of who we are, the stronger and darker the shadow becomes, building inner barriers that prevent us from fully developing our potential. At the same time, understanding how the shadow is formed gives us clues about our weaknesses and unconscious patterns, opening the door to consciously dealing with these hidden aspects and transforming their negative influence into opportunities for personal growth. To understand the shadow, it is essential to see how it relates to the ego, the persona, and the higher self. The ego is the part of our consciousness we know, the one that defines us in daily life, while the higher self represents the totality of our personality, including everything we are not yet aware of. Between these two dimensions lies the persona, the social mask we wear to present ourselves to the world. The persona is shaped by societal expectations and our desire to be accepted, but it never fully reflects who we truly are. When we ignore our shadow, both the ego and persona remain partially blind to important aspects of ourselves, creating inner conflicts and leading us to project our weaknesses onto others. Moreover, Jung showed that each of us carries inner elements that don't fit into our conscious identity, such as the animus and anima, representing the masculine and feminine sides of the psyche. Recognizing these structures allows us to realize that we are far more than we appear to be, and that our decisions, emotions, and behaviors are constantly influenced by parts of us that remain invisible to consciousness. Understanding this dynamic is the first step toward integrating the shadow and moving toward a more complete and harmonious personality. The shadow manifests itself in subtle and often surprising ways in our daily lives. It emerges in moments of intense emotion, when we react disproportionately to situations that, at first glance, seem simple. The anger, anxiety, or guilt we feel may not be entirely caused by what happens in the moment. They are often reflections of repressed contents in our unconscious. Our dreams, for instance, are powerful windows into the shadow, personifying these hidden parts in images and symbols that challenge us to confront aspects of ourselves we would rather ignore. Furthermore, when we project our shadow onto others, we tend to see in them what we deny in ourselves, creating conflicts and misunderstandings. Observing these patterns, reflecting on them, and recording them is a way of bringing to light what was hidden, allowing the shadow to cease acting autonomously and to transform into a source of self-knowledge. By learning to recognize how it manifests, we begin to better understand our emotions, our behaviors, and, above all, the silent influence the shadow has over our most important decisions. Although often seen as negative, the shadow is not merely a reservoir of undesirable traits of our personality. It also holds valuable qualities, healthy instincts, creativity, and inner strength that remain dormant until acknowledged. By confronting the shadow, we can transform these repressed energies into powerful resources for personal growth. For instance, assertiveness that someone represses out of fear of seeming rude can, once integrated, become courage and the ability to make firm decisions. Suppressed anger can turn into motivation to act against injustices, and neglected creative talents can reveal themselves in artistic expression or innovative problem-solving. Jung showed that true psychological wholeness is only achieved when we become aware of these aspects, learning to deal with them with honesty, compassion, and discernment. Facing the shadow is not a simple task, but it is an essential path to authenticity, allowing us to live more fully, connected to who we truly are, without fear or denial of our own complexity. The shadow is not limited to the individual experience, it also manifests collectively, reflecting hidden, denied, or repressed aspects of an entire society. The collective shadow is the invisible energy that shapes cultural behaviors, social norms, and even historical events. When we ignore or deny collective problems, this shadow expresses itself in destructive ways, emerging in conflicts, violence, prejudice, and injustices that affect millions of people. Jung shows us that the patterns of the individual mind repeat on a collective scale, and what is not acknowledged personally can contribute to broader social issues. Racism, intolerance, genocides, or political crises are manifestations of the collective shadow, amplified by the lack of self-awareness in individuals who, unconsciously, project their own flaws and fears onto others or onto social structures. Confronting the collective shadow requires that each individual first confronts their own personal shadow. By taking responsibility for our actions, thoughts, and emotions, we can interrupt cycles of destructive behaviors and contribute to a more conscious, just, and balanced society. Self-awareness thus becomes an essential bridge to collective transformation. Working with the shadow is a profound process of self-discovery and transformation, and it begins with honest observation of ourselves. A powerful practice is keeping a journal, recording moments when intense emotions arise, and reflecting on what triggered them. Over time, these records reveal patterns and hidden aspects of our personality that had been silently at work. Dream analysis is another fundamental tool, as the shadow often appears in these scenarios as figures or symbols that challenge our consciousness. Furthermore, radical honesty with oneself is indispensable. When feeling irritation, fear, or discomfort, pause and question whether these feelings may be connected to your shadow. Recognizing and integrating these aspects is not a quick process, but each reflection, each insight, and each small discovery are important steps toward psychological wholeness. By confronting the shadow, we transform repressed content into knowledge, strength, and self-awareness, enriching not only our own lives but also the way we relate to others and to society. True illumination does not come from imagining only the light, but from bringing to consciousness the darkness that lives within us, allowing the light to penetrate and reveal the fullness of our being. Now I want to hear from you. While listening to this video, which parts of your own shadow did you begin to recognize? What emotions or patterns did you feel echoing within you? Write it down in the comments, share your reflections and deepest experiences. Don't think of this as just an ordinary interaction. By putting your words here, you are taking a conscious step toward illuminating your own unconscious. Each insight you share not only strengthens your journey of self-discovery, but also creates a wave of awareness that can inspire others who are watching this very moment. So don't hold back, let your mind speak, allow your shadow to reveal itself, and let growth happen. If you've come this far, you've already taken the first step toward a profound transformation. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and continue exploring with us the mysteries of the mind and soul. Remember, every light we ignite within ourselves dispels the darkness, and every conscious step we take brings us closer to a fuller, more authentic, and more powerful life. Thank you for being here, for allowing yourself to look within, and for being part of this community that seeks to understand and embrace the true essence of humanity. Until the next video, where we will continue this fascinating journey together.